Bry's Comics.
Welcome to Bry's Comics. It's been a wild couple of weeks here at the shop. I just posted a video where I purchased a whole bunch of grails with the intention of offering them for trade, and they've pretty much all been traded at this point, and the trades are starting to come in. So in this video, we're going to go over some of the recent trades that I did, and some of these books will be available for trade. If that's something that interests you, make sure you follow me over on Instagram. I'll often post the trades first on Instagram, so you can follow me there, hit that notification bell when new posts go live. You can also follow me over on my website at bryscomics.com. If you sign up for the newsletter, I'll send out notifications when new inventory hits the site, and you can also always use code COLLECT10 for 10% off all in-stock items at bryscomics.com. You're also entered to win a free slab each and every month you stay subscribed to the newsletter, and we also do a giveaway here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win a free slab. So yeah, it's been a crazy couple weeks. I mean, we have all of this stuff was collections and trades that came in last week. The postman just stopped by and dropped off these boxes here. This is a new collection that I just bought. CGC delivered a bunch of packages. I need to process those. And there's, a bunch more on the way. It's the most exciting thing. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm living my dream, selling comics for a living. This is a collection that just came in that I paid $12,000 for. Stay tuned for a future video on that. Ooh, look at this. What do we have here? We have TMNT number 4, the Air edition, a bunch of copies of that are going off to CGC. So much fun stuff in store. Also, this is future Whatnot shows, so make sure to follow me over on Whatnot. Link in the description for $15 towards your first purchase. We're going to do $1 starts on a ton of slabs, and new stuff keeps coming in that I am adding to this. I think the next sale is this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and I hope to see you there on Whatnot. Tons of CGC giveaways, chance at $500 in cash, and everything starts at $1. It's going to be a ton of fun. So let's hop into today's video and look at these recent trades. So this first trade has a lot of interesting things to talk about. This is what I did for the Iron Man 1 9.8 white pages. That's the book that I was trading. I had it valued at, I believe, $32,000 cash or $35,000 in trade. Ended up accepting this trade offer, $20,000 in cash and these 3 books, which is Iron Man 1 in a 9.6 white pages, Daredevil 1 in a 5.5 off-white to white origin, and first appearance of Daredevil, first appearance of Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, and Fantastic Four 52 in a 7.0, the first appearance of the Black Panther. So what's really interesting about this trade is this person was wanting to upgrade, and it's basically the ultimate upgrade. You go from a 9.6 Silver Age book to a 9.8 white page copy of a book that is just an absolute ghost in the 9.8. I think there was like 40 something copies of 9.8s on the census. You'll see right here, there's 3 color breaking spine ticks and some other minor stuff going on with this book, resulting in a 9.6. The 9.8 obviously did not have those things. The 9.8 was truly like a perfect copy. I proposed the question in that video, would you rather an Iron Man 1 9.8 white pages or a TOS 39, the first full appearance of Iron Man, in a 7.0, because they were about the same price? And people were pretty split across the board, but one person made a really interesting comment, and that was there's likely not going to be very many 9.8s of Iron Man 1 added to the census, and there's definitely going to be more TOS 39 7.0s added to the census. And I actually totally agree with that. The longer I do this business, the more of a perspective I get on the hobby and comic books that are out there. I think that there are a lot of TOS 39s that are still raw, haven't been graded. Yet how many 9.8s of this book are out there? I mean, it's incredibly unlikely unless there's like a storage unit find, but that's incredibly unlikely because of the way that these were sold and stored and everything like that. So I actually think that 9.8 white page copy of this book is a really good long-term investment, for the fact that, over time, there's not going to be many more of them added, if any, to the census. But a really interesting upgrade on this one. Huge upgrade in value. Those 3 little spine texts could have just been from one movement, somebody pulling it out of a box and tick, 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 and put it back in the box. causing $25,000 worth of damage. And when you think about it, that's the whole game that we play with these incredibly fragile collectibles, is every time you interact with them, it lowers the value lower and lower and lower, and I mean, you start out each one, we're going to talk about this one here in a sec, XMen number 1 in like a 9.8, you're talking about millions of dollars. I don't even know if there is any 9.8s. It might only be 9.6s of this. And then every time that it's interacted with over time, the value of the book goes down and down until you're ended up with a 2.0, where it started out such a valuable book. Very interesting things to think about. All right, so let's talk about this trade. This is what I did for the ASM 129 in a 9.8. So ASM 129, I had it, I believe, for about the same price. I think it was about 32,000 cash, 35,000 in trade, and we ended up striking a deal on this trade, $33,000 in trade. There was a little bit of cash, I think like $1,500, and then all of these books. So we got an X-Men 1 and a 2.0, origin and first appearance of the X-Men. This book, the main detractor from the grade, I believe, is this piece of tape that's here. And don't quote me on this. I'd have to pull out the guide to grading comics, but I believe the way CGC treats tape on a spine like that is they grade the book as if the defect is trying to prevent or fix is actually there. So if this piece of tape is there to prevent a spine split, I think they grade it as if the spine was completely split, which would explain the 2.0 because it presents really well for a 2.0. Tales of Suspense 52 in a 6.0, first appearance of the Black Widow. This is a book that I would love to have in my PC, but I would love it in like a 9.0 or something like that. It's an incredibly expensive book, and obviously, I don't think there's a ton of upside for this book. It's just one that I really, really want as a collector. So I would have a really hard time letting go of it if it was like a 9.0 or better. 6.5 of Fantastic Four 52 with the custom label. First appearance of the Black Panther. Fantastic Four 49 and a 6.5. First full appearance of Galactus. Second appearance of the Silver Surfer, and the first Silver Surfer and Galactus cover. Iron Man 55 and a 9.2. First appearance of Thanos, Mentor, Drax the Destroyer, Star Fox, Kronos, and the Blood Brothers. This is a crazy book. I mean, obviously it's had a huge ups and downs in the market because of Thanos. And now we have, and also Drax the Destroyer. Now we also have Star Fox that's, coming to the MCU soon. I'm sure that will, peak and crash as well related to that character. But as far as a collectible for just its mega key status for, MCU fans and Marvel comic fans. I mean, this book has so much going for it. Thanos, Drax, Star Fox. My favorite of the three is Drax. He's my favorite character of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So a book that I would love to have in my PC in a 9.8. Tomb of Dracula, number 10. The first appearance of Blade, the Vampire Slayer, in a 7.5. Nice little bonus to have the white pages on this one. Amazing Spider-Man 101 and the 9.4, first appearance of Morbius, the Living Vampire, another book that has obviously seen a monumental crash after the epic failing representation of Morbius in that Sony movie, but nonetheless an important Amazing Spider-Man key, not to mention the six-armed Spidey. Amazing Spider-Man 50 in a 7.5, first appearance of the Kingpin, origin of the Spider-Man retold, and just a classic John Romita cover, one of the best of all time. Captain America number 100, the first issue for this series. Numbering is continued from Tales of Suspense number 99. I hate how they do that, continuing the number thing, but at least it's a number 100. Daredevil number 1, this time in a 5.0. Hulk 180 and a 9.0 with the custom label. First cameo appearance of Wolverine, depending on which camp you're in on that. Another copy of Iron Man number 1 in an 8.0. And Blue Bolt number 114 a 3.5. Golden Age LB Cole cover. If you know, an awesome LB Cole cover there. And last but not least, Amazing Spider-Man number 129 in a 9.4. So it's interesting to see that both of these trades so far, the collectors were upgrading their personal collections, and in both of these situations to the ultimate key, 9.8s. First appearance of the Punisher. somebody messaged me after I'd already closed this deal looking for a high grade ASM 129. And I said, yes, I have one on the way. And so this book is actually already shipped out by the time you're watching this video, and I traded it for this next set of books. So I'm totally game to kick the can down the road as far as you can, you know, trade a book and then get a set of books in, trade one of those for a set more, and kick that can down the road. It usually stops at about 2 or 3 trades because the value gets down low. And I don't like to do trades for anything less than $1,000 because I would just be bogged down. There's a lot of admin and logistics behind it, you know, shipping labels, checking stuff in, sending stuff out. So at a certain point, it doesn't become worth it. But this is a really cool book. The highest grade that I've ever owned, Star Trek #1 an 8.0 with white pages. Nice little bonus to have the white pages on this one. This is an expensive book. I think it's around a $1,700 book in an 8.0. So I'd be totally open to trading this one and see what we can get for that. So the ASM 129 that I traded for all of these is about $4,800 in value for trade. Avengers #8 in a 5.0, first appearance of Kang the Conqueror. I would love to have a copy of this book in the PC. You know, I'd like a little bit higher grade than the 5.0, but it's just funny to me that this book is, you know, declining after the Ant-Man movie. I mean, Jonathan Majors is absolutely killing that character, and it's just so indicative of the fickleness of the spec market, you know, is that even if that character is portrayed brilliantly on the screen, we see this huge decline because it's like the wad has been shot, you know, it's like all of the wind is out of the sails. We see him on the screen, even if it's a good portrayal, it's like, okay, what's next? Because we're always looking for what's next. But as far as an important character in the MCU, Kang is going to be huge going forward, kind of a lot like that Thanos book. I mean, if you look at the history of Iron Man 55 and the portrayals on the screen, I think that Kang might actually have some interesting correlations with Iron Man 55. Shock Suspense Stories #8 and a 3.5, a Wally Wood and Al Feldstein cover. Shock Suspense Stories #15 and a 5.5. Amazing Spider-Man 252, 9.4 white newsstand. Fantastic Four #50 and a 6.5 white. Fantastic Four #57 and a 4.5 with that custom Doom label. It looks absolutely awesome, if I do say so myself. Fantastic Four #74 and a 6.5. GI Combat #32 and a 5.5 atomic bomb explosion. GI Combat #130. I actually really like this cover. It's not an expensive book or anything, but Attila, the mightiest Hun of all, emerges from the misty past to smash the haunted tank. I mean, what a cool cover. Strange Tales #178 and a 9.4. The first appearance of Magus, Warlock begins. These books, I believe it was these 3. There might have been a couple more that were part of it. I can't really remember. I remember this was the main one and the reason I wanted to do the trade. This was for Amazing Spider-Man #9. First appearance of Electro in low grade. I think it was like a 3.0, and I traded it for Iron Man 282 9.8 newsstand edition, first full appearance of War Machine. And I just added one of these to the PC, actually from the same person, same recent trade. And does anybody else do this with their collection? You add something to your PC, all of a sudden you want to add like more of them. It's like it's like this weird thing in my head where it's like, oh yeah, I want 100 9.8 newsstand editions of this. Like just one is not good enough. It's a weird thing in collecting. I'm curious if anybody else does that, where you get multiple copies of that one thing that you want. X-Men at 114, the first use of the uncanny in logo. And Thor #5. So just a couple smalls, but it was that Iron Man 282 that I was really interested in, that one. This was for a trade I did for X-Men #7. It was pretty much an even trade. The book was kind of sitting on the website for a while, and you know, I have a soft spot for this book. So Something's Killing the Children #1, first print, cover A, and he threw in an extra #16 Jenny Friesen cover. I think I might end up using this as a prize for an upcoming mystery box. All right, so these books are for a trade that I did for Giant Size X-Men #1. I believe it was about $16,000 in trade that I was looking for that book, and it was these 3 books plus $4,000 cash is how we got made this deal happen. So it's Avengers number 4 in an 8.0 off-white pages, first Silver Age appearance of Captain America, and just a really nice copy. So nice to see when, you know, the spine is intact. Sometimes with an 8.0, there's different defects that can accumulate to an 8.0, and I think probably, I haven't looked at the notes, but probably this one might have to do with, you know, maybe cover tanning or something like that. They don't usually detract from the grade too much for a dust shadow, but I would prefer a dust shadow all day over spine ticks because it's still a sharp copy. There's just different defects that equal an 8.0, and I think that this one looks really, really nice for an 8.0. Hulk 181, a 5.5, off-white to white, first full appearance of Wolverine, and Submariner number 1 in a 9.6. And I believe all of these will be available for trade as well. So this next collection here is not going to be the full story yet. So this is what I traded the Batman 251 in 9.8 white, that classic Neil Adams cover, for all of these books here, plus 2 other boxes of smaller books that will be here later in the week. So this is just part of it. But we have Batman 423 Fan Expo Special Gold Foil Edition with the Todd McFarlane label, signed by Todd McFarlane in gold. I mean, that is a juicy one right there. Black Knight number 1 in a 3.5. I've missed my copy ever since I sold it. I love this back ad here for the Kelpidine diet gum, which says if you just eat candy every time you're hungry, you will guaranteed to lose weight. So this one is going to go on the back wall. Spawn number 1, 9.8 white pages, newsstand edition, signed by Todd McFarlane in green with the custom label. I mean, you take a not rare book and you get make it a newsstand, and you've got something special there. Pretty cool collectible for Todd McFarlane's fans. Fear number 19 in a 9.8 white pages, first appearance of Howard the Duck and Korek. I think that this is a decent spec book right now. I think that this book will pop off at some point in the future. We'll see this on the hot and trending list for sure. So, you know, right now, not a lot of chatter or talk about Howard the Duck, and I think, you know, it's a decent spec book right now. Strange Tales number 170, origin and second appearance of Brother Voodoo in a 9.6. Black Cat number 1, the J. Scott Campbell edition D, Le Chat Noir, signed by J. Scott Campbell. This is a J. Scott Campbell grail. It's one that's really hard to come by, and collectors are not quick to let go of it. To have it in signature series, even better. Star Wars 42 in a 9.6 white pages, newsstand edition, first comic book appearance of Boba Fett. Strange Tales number 138, first appearance of Eternity in an 8.5, and another copy in an 8.5. And Daredevil number 8 in a 9.4, origin and first appearance of Stiltman. So there you have it, folks. Whew, just a ton of stuff going on. This is exhilarating. I'm having so much fun. Thank you so much for coming along with me on the ride. Don't forget to follow me over on Whatnot. All of this goodness is going to start at $1, and we're adding a bunch of stuff to it this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Link in the description for $15 towards your first purchase. Also, we have that monthly giveaway here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win a free slab. And of course, head over to bridescomics.com and sign up for the newsletter. That's where you get first notification when new inventory is live on the website. Thanks as always for sticking with me to the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bry's Comics.